What happens when you are left as the sole caregiver for a parent that growing up was emotionally unavailable? After my dad died, I was reluctantly left with the responsibility to honor his dying wish: take care of your mom. My mother, Julia, suffered her first psychotic breakdown well into her 60s. Only then did her lifelong illness receive a name: schizophrenia. What followed was a journey to forgiveness that neither of us expected, one that would transform our relationship and reveal the voice we both would find. My name is Judy Balmerito. Welcome to join me on this journey. I didn't realize how much my dad did to maintain a normal pattern for my mother. Once he was gone, she spiraled drastically. Within 2 difficult years, I had to place her in an assisted living home. Every visit felt like entering a black veil, thick with darkness. She never opened her curtains, and most often I would find her lying in bed, staring at the ceiling. Between the invisible computer that was fixing her arm to the voices that spoke to her on the radio, any semblance to normal was checked at the door. To protect my heart from her harsh words, I decided to bring my camera along. At first, it was awkward to raise the camera to her face, and quite honestly, she was not very pleased. You see, she was always screaming at me for things I did not do, things that were not real. I was simply just trying to care for her. Now when she screamed at me for taking her photo, it was real, and it was something I could understand. Upon returning home, I would process my files and be shocked at the incredible sadness I was looking at. Something inside me started to shift. I began to see my mother in a literally new light. It was during this time that my mother started writing notes and placing them around her home, in drawers and on tables. She wrote on anything she could find. Sometimes it was a few words: healthy, wealthy, and wise. By the grace of God, no one got hurt. Sometimes it was her life story. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Jane. She was growing up and she fell in love with Jack. She was a very good girl. She cracked her teeth and her father did not pay for a cap. Instead, he paid for false teeth. This is a true story. When she was 12, she fell off her bike and cracked her front teeth. Instead of fixing her teeth, her father had all her teeth removed and replaced with dentures. She never recovered from this trauma. Born in Pennsylvania, a family of 10, which my mother hated all of us. One day I was sick and my mother gave me soup. I wanted her to sit, but she did not. I began to realize she was writing thoughts she could not speak. She wrote her thoughts, wishes, fears, and lists of words. To me, these became puzzle pieces to her soul. Real life is ranked. The smartest, hardest working, and the most talented come in first. Vented. It was in this space that our symbiotic relationship was born. It was here that I realized that her longing for love and acceptance was no different than my own. Bless me, God, I want to be a good person and have people like me. Don't we all? She speaks for everyone. By sharing her thoughts and stories, maybe she thought I could save her. Or perhaps, unbeknownst to me at the time, she was saving me. Reinvent yourself. Be whoever you want to be. 2 years later, she was placed in a nursing home and no longer wrote. She was now comfortable in front of the camera, so I switched to my DSLR. Rather than her writing, I would now include her spoken words next to each image. Why did you put weeds in my coat? This became a poignant metaphor, always looking past the beauty and into the darkness. God's not doing his job fixing my teeth. I'm so lonely. I'm going to heaven. It is my intent to give integrity and validity to my mother's life. Through word and image, these candid glimpses into her soul give her a voice, and she speaks for many who, for one reason or another, have chosen to quietly fall between the cracks. When we look beyond the labels of mental illness, we find our shared humanity. My mother taught me that each and every person carries stories worth hearing and a perspective worth seeing, especially those that causes the most pain. Through my camera lens, I discovered that caring for my mother meant more than just meeting her physical needs. It meant witnessing her truth, no matter how difficult. When we begin to look at things in a new light, we can change our story. This journey taught me that healing is possible, even with a parent who never met my emotional needs. Share in the comments how you found healing by seeing your relationship through a different lens. How has changing your perspective transformed your story? Visit the website link in the description if you would like to view the entire series, The Space Between the Cracks, and to see more of this ongoing visual journey. Subscribe to join a community of people finding beauty and meaning in the midst of difficult family relationships and the courage to rewrite their story. Thank you for joining me on this journey.